Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another Indie Comics Talk. Tonight, I've got two awesome creators on the channel that have made a lot of really cool comics. I got some of them behind me in the background there. But tonight, we're talking about Drive Like Hell from Dark Horse Comics. Please welcome in Alex Cormack and Rich Douek. Welcome in, guys. How are you doing tonight?
Doing great.
Awesome.
Yeah. Doing really good.
Yeah. Figured I'd set the background up nicely with some of your guys' works back there.
Yeah, right.
Alex and I were talking before. One collaboration between you guys, the one that started it, is the one I don't have and haven't read, Road of Bones. But that's in my research, looking at your guys' backlog of comics. I came across that. I was like, I don't know how I missed that. So that's to my TBR pile for later.
Yeah, that's one that we kicked it all off with.
My never-ending TBR pile, which is like shelves now. So usually to kick stuff off, first time I have creators on the channel, do a little of a comic origin story, brief how you got into comics and what got you creating comics. So whoever wants to start first with that.
Rich, hit it. I gotta relax.
I'm sure you guys have been told this story or asked this question a few times, but
yeah, I mean, I've been into comics, I think, like pretty much my whole life. Like, I remember when I was a kid, I always used to, buy them at like places like 7-Eleven and stuff like that. So it probably dates me, but they did have comics in 7-Eleven there. Yeah. But then, I had like a local comic store that I always used to go to when I was a teenager. It's called Mike's Comic Hut in Queens. It's a pretty awesome place. Go there, play Street Fighter 2 arcade, and buy some comics. Go home and read them. And then, I kind of like fell out of it for a little bit, but then got back into it like as an adult, and it was just something that I always really, just a medium I always really loved. So, when I was looking, I was really trying to. I always wanted to be a writer, and I was like, trying to get into that, and be writing like short stories or trying to start like a novel or something like that, and. I think it was weird. Just like one day it occurred to me, like, hey, like you love comics, why don't you try writing comics? So I started small, just doing a couple of I did a couple of short stories. Found some artists for them and got those done. And then just the more I did it, kind of like the more confident I got in what I could do. And I just started doing longer projects. And I did. Finally did like my first mini series. It's called Gutter Magic. We put that out with IDW. That was really cool. Then I did a book called Wailing Blade with my buddy Joe Mulvey. We did that for there it is.
Yeah. Comics Tribe.
So we did that for Comics Tribe, and then like while we were doing that, Alex and John, our friend John Lees, were working on Sync for Comics Tribe. Yeah. So basically, like when we would all kind of go to New York Comic Con to help out at the Comics Tribe booth, and that's how we met. And Alex and I just started talking, and then eventually I just sort of slid a pitch across. I was like, hey, I have this idea for a book called Road of Bones. What do you think? And I'll hand it over to you, Alex.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I got into it I like everybody else. I liked comics when I was a kid. I mean, but a lot of mine came from like my interest kind of came from my older brother, because my older brother is 5 years older, and he was just huge into comics. He loved them. and whatever he left on the floor is kind of like I got the scraps. Whatever he kind of left on the bedroom floor and he just forgot about him, I would sneak into his room and be like, all right, what is this stuff? And like the specific one I remember like getting a reaction first was like Craven's Last Hunt. And I remember thinking like, oh, all right, Spider-Man. I've kind of heard of it. And I'm like, geez, this guy's hardcore, man. He's like, oh my, he blew his brains out of the end. Wow, this is some heavy stuff. This is great.
This is not the Spider-Man I know.
Yeah, I thought he was like, that's not the cartoons that that type of stuff. And so I love getting them. But it was just, for me, it was always like the artwork and all that stuff. Like I had a bad habit of buying comics, and I think I've read maybe 4 of them when I was a kid. Like I would always look at the artwork and like that type of thing, and was just really digging that forever. And then it was like Rich was saying, I kind of had like a falling out of them with, or not falling out, but I just stopped picking them up at like maybe around like high school, middle school era, like
yeah.
So but I was always kind of interested in that. At the time I was studying more illustration, and I was kind of doing more interested in like cartooning, and I always thought I was gonna be my dream was to be the next Bill Watterson or Jim Davis or like Charles Schultz or Larson. Like that's what I thought I would do, was like comic strip stuff. And then I tried a few, and I'm not that funny, so it didn't really work. Like I could draw it, but the jokes were just awful. And so I went to art school, and I started off with fine arts, and that kind of turned into doing photography, which then kind of turned into doing illustration, and then illustration kind of turned into doing animation. And I started doing that for a while, and that's why I thought that's where it's at. I'll be an animator. Got out of school, and like I got a few jobs, but each one fell apart. Like for example, remember the Speed Racer movie, which is kind of becoming I guess a cult movie now. When that came out, I got a job to be like a character designer on that. Like I'd be the guy doing like the background characters, that type of thing. Solely if the movie was a hit. And, it was the guys that did The Matrix. Of course it'd be a hit. So I was already in the mood in New York and everything, and that didn't work well. And so a handful of things like that happened. And what I eventually did was like, all right, I need to do something about this. And I sat down for a year, my wife and I, we made a half-hour Christmas cartoon, and thinking, well, it's animation. Christmas cartoon is a big thing. We'll just make a movie about Santa Claus. And I put it out. And I think putting it in festivals, stuff like that, won some awards, great. But I made, I think, a total of $20 on the whole endeavor. And so I was like, all right, I got to think of something else. And but at this point, I was starting to look at comic books again. Like around this point, like Sin City movie came back out. So I got like the DVD that came with the graphic novel. And I was like, this is the DVD. This thing's where it's at, because it was one of those. I remember seeing the ads in like Dark Horse when I was a kid. Like in Indiana Jones comics they did, and I was like, I don't know what this is. This is like for grown-ups. This is not for this looks scary when I was a kid. And I got a hold of it. I'm like, yeah, this is badass. This is where it's at. Yep. And when I did that Christmas cartoon, I saw that like the sequential stuff, like figuring out the story, like that's the stuff I enjoyed the most. And I was like, all right, maybe I'll give comics a try. And what happened was, to make a longer story longer, I ended up doing a pinup that was in the back of a book, Skull Kickers, which was an Image comic book. And that led to getting a job on an anthology over here, getting a job over here. It snowballed until I met the guys at Comics Tribe, where we did I did a cover for the Red 10, and then I did a story in their Oxymoron anthology, did an Oxymoron miniseries with them, and then John and I did Sync, and then Rich was like, hey, I got this great idea for like a prison break story out of a gulag, and I was like, holy crap, this is where this is great, let's do it. And now we're talking, so that's that.
The rest is history. It's always interesting to see the path that people take. Actually, I think it was Emma Kubert I had on, and she was talking about doing animation, and then she's like, wait, no, with the family history of comics, she didn't want to do comics, but then she was doing animation. She's like, this is not as exciting as comics.
Yeah.
And it all came back to the comic side of things. It's funny that you had that animation path as well, just a different reason for veering back to comics.
And it's also, and that's advice for anybody who's like wants to be an artist for study animation, because when you do that, you have to learn how to draw from every angle, from above, from below, from behind. Like,
yeah.
And you just get used to being able to turn a character around, not a problem, which has been a huge help when you're drawing something and you're like, okay, I got to, we got to draw from every single angle. You can only show the front of somebody or a 3/4 view so many times before you're just like, I need to.
What does the back of this character look like? What are you hiding?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. What does the back of an ear look like?
Right.
That's happening.
I'm sure that experience definitely helped a lot, though, and just already knowing like, okay, I can draw all these different types of body parts that maybe another artist is gonna skip over, leave out, and so now you got that extra leg up on design there.
That's right. That's right. All you other artists, I'm on.
Maybe you gotta go back to the comic strip idea, but instead of trying to be funny, just go all out on horror and everything.
Well, and that's kind of what it turned into. I'm like, well, I enjoy doing this stuff. Well, and you know what? It was my brother gave me a copy of Invincible when that started, and I was enjoying it, but it wasn't until like I saw like the Viltrumite War like run they did, and there's a shot where I'm not gonna give it away who it is, but a dude shoves his arm through another dude and just blood like puking out the back, and at the time I was like, you could do this in a comic, like you could show that much, like, and it's public, like, because in my head at that point was still Wolverine had his claws, but no one ever got cut. You'd be like,
somehow he wasn't killing people.
Yeah, it wasn't like there was not much blood in the X-Men series, or if it was like
it's really funny though, because like in the back of the Sea of Sorrows trade paperback, Alex did a pinup with like all the characters as like drawn like Garfield characters, and I saw like he sent that to me, and I just cracked up, and I was like, we really should do this as like a children's animated series. Just like
Sea of Sorrows, the children's animated.
The whole time they're like bouncing like this the whole time.
Like, twist some young minds.
The songs suddenly become more pleasant and melodic.
It'll be like a Disney movie.
Yeah, it's like a freaking baby shark all of a sudden, and they're just hypnotized.
Baby shark lures them into the ocean.
It's like,
oh god. I mean,
I was excited for this idea until that, and now I don't know.
But it's also kind of like a testimony to like your good character design, and not like I could recognize like every single character, like I knew who everyone was, just in like your regular style or this like Garfield style. So I thought that was great.
Now you're gonna make me go buy Sea of Sorrows again and get the trade paperback, which is the whole point of you bringing this up, isn't it?
Yeah,
of course.
Honestly, a lot of my buying and reading now, I'm like, it's easier to store trade paperbacks than it is like so many single issues, and so I'm getting to the point of, should I start converting some of my single issues into trades? And those extra little bits in the trades are always a good incentive to pick them up.
Yeah.
Cool extra back matter or fun, interesting designs of the characters.
Like special features, you're making
those. So the book you
guys
getting
like the deluxe DVD.
Yeah, the deleted scenes, the director's commentary, all that. Yeah. So the book you guys got coming up now is Drive Like Hell, coming from Dark Horse Comics.
That's right.
What is the elevator pitch on Drive Like Hell?
So a bank robbing, like a car thief, steals a car for a bank robbing job, and just happens to belong to the devil, who's got something really important in the trunk, and leads to this crazy cross country chase where it's kind of like Mad Max Fury Road with like demons and angels and all kinds of crazy supernatural things chasing after them.
The Mad Max part definitely seems very, very fitting for this. Just like a hellish version of it.
Oh
yeah.
Which again, it's your Alex, your art style, the horror elements of it really bleed through, and not just focused on there's the crime side of it, but it definitely feels like we're just going all horror after this first issue, where it starts out a little mix of both.
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, this one more than the other three. More than like Road of Bones, Breath of Shadows, and Sea of Sorrows. This one's kind of. It's definitely got horror. I mean, for crying out loud, one of the main characters, and it's not a spoiler. It's on page 2. Or page 3 has a hole in their head and is bleeding out everywhere. But it's kind of more like in the vein of like, as far as horror, more like a splat stick. It's like
more like
I mean, like, because there's a lot of
Evil Dead or
Return
of the Living Dead or
right.
Like that kind of like it's just it's a little more like Army of Darkness or like kind of like lighthearted kind of like it's like an adventure story as well as like horror elements to it. So
I love that. I love when there's always a good like horror can be so many different things, and it can be just horror by itself, but I love when it bleeds into other genres and brings in other elements of storytelling versus just sticking on the horror path and trying to go for the suspense and the scares.
Right. Yeah. That's a nice thing with horror. You can kind of mix it with anything else and it works.
Yeah.
And I think we did that a lot with like our previous books, like, Road of Bones, Sea of Sorrows, Breath of Shadows. Like we really, those are all like very kind of like atmospheric and suspenseful and just really kind of digging into like horror and gross stuff. And like, I think, I don't know about for you, Alex, but I think like for this and readers, it's like, maybe this is like a little bit of like a palate cleanser, like, kind of something different. Like, and then I'm sure someday we'll get back to, like,
I mean, the Breath of Shadows,
stomachs and
the level of crazy, creepy, crawly things you got going on in Breath of Shadows.
Oh my God, yeah.
Enough to make you not want to go to the forest anytime soon.
Yeah, right. If you do, tuck your pants into your socks, type of thing,
Right? Yeah. No exposed skin. No bugs getting in and turning you into one. Nope. But I mean, it had like it had elements of like fantasy adventure in it too. That definitely an additive thing to it. And then of course we got our ship, and I feel like there's elements of sci-fi, not like space sci-fi, but
it had like a hint of like alien there.
Or like The Thing, like I think was like a big inspiration for
absolutely,
Sea of Sorrows. Like not that it was like an alien, but just that that kind of like, I mean, Alex, like drawing like the underwater stuff, like did remind me of like outer space a lot, because it was like really kind of like black down that like. And like little particles floating instead of stars. So
I mean,
I mean, look at the cover. The cover's basically just just black. Yeah.
That is a very just black cover, and which surprised I've kept it in as good of condition as I have, because black cover is just like
it's definitely one you're gonna get like the thumbprints on the side and that thing.
Right. I just put it back in this. I'm like, all right, stay in there. I think that was also like the release time around that was like when everyone had like thinner paper with their releases.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was even more so like, how do I not rip this comic up? And black covers just automatically touch them, and but it looks so nice.
Thank you.
That like the art, but the story inside fits that creepy cover. I think there was one variant one on like, I don't know, issue 3 or 4. It just seemed too happy and pleasant of an art style. It was like it was one of the 1 in 10s. I was like, what is going on?
I think that's what it would have been. All right.
Yeah, I'm wondering
what it
which
was,
one.
but it was around like 3 or 4. It was the 1 in 10 variant, and I don't remember, but it felt like such a contrast after reading the first couple issues that
I'm solely just gonna play Joe. It was Joe Mulvey.
Yeah,
I don't. Maybe it was.
it usually is. So
But it was, it's like a brighter style, and versus like I think some of the variants on the other ones kept that
Joe's
creepiness.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Joe.
I think Joe's cover was definitely maybe a little bit brighter, like it had like more blues and stuff.
That being said, his is like the dude being dragged down to the depths by this like monster.
Yeah, I mean, content-wise, it might have been still creepy, but
yeah.
I was just doing actually, it might have been, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what you were saying before with the kind of like a lot of these having like a good amount of dread on them, like we were saying with Alien and the Thing being an influence on Sea of Sorrows. For example, a couple of influences on Drive Like Hell right now are like the Blues Brothers and Smokey, which are a little lighthearted.
Yeah,
opposed to the other two.
Yeah, so bringing that lightheartedness into the horror genre.
Yeah.
I mean that seeing one of the main characters is got a bullet hole in their head.
Just gotta say goodnight real quick. Hold on.
No, you're good. But seeing that kind of thing. And then they talk, and then you're like, okay, it's not gonna be so dark. We're gonna have the comedic element in it, and I enjoy that.
Yeah, I think it was just a lot of like just from a writing perspective. Bye. Night, Danny. Like just from a writing perspective, it was a lot of fun to write. I mean, not that I didn't have fun writing stuff like Breath of Shadows, but it's like, can get a little bleak. So
you gotta pull yourself out of the darkness here and there. And
it was nice to be able to write some jokes and stuff like that. So, it was good. And I tried to make it fun for Alex to draw too. Yeah, because he asked for it.
Yeah, no, this was been.
I was like, you sure you want to draw all these cars?
Dude, I'm way happier looking up references for cars than bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
I feel like you have just as many cars in one of the scenes as you did bugs in Breath of Shadows.
Yeah, especially issue 2. There's a shot in there. It's
oh gosh.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of like coming in on them, and that took a little bit of time. But that was motorcycles too.
Bring in the whole brigade to take them down.
And that's and I'm about to start issue 4, and that one's gonna be bananas.
So with this one, it's is it gonna be a 4-issue series or 5-issue?
Yeah, it's 4 issues.
4 issues. Okay.
I'll do 5.
Bonus issue, it's the bonus
writing
in the trade paperback.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you never know if issue 1 does well enough. We might have a conversation with Dark Horse and just be like, "Hey, do some more."
Like part 2.
So
we can just keep going.
To make Alex and Rich work harder for this comic. Sell it very well. Get out there, tell your shops you want it. Tell them you want 20 of it, however many.
Do it to it.
You were talking about, Rich, the trying to step out of some of the really darker things that you write. I feel like Happy Hill might be one of those ways to step out of that. It's horror still, but I feel like there's just so many comedic elements in it as well. It definitely had a lighter tone than some of the other stories.
For sure. And like a lot of that is like that I was like co-writing it with Joe, the artist, Joe Mulvey, who we've been talking about, because Joe's like literally one of the funniest people I think. I know he's one of the funniest people I've ever met. Yeah, I'd be willing to say he's one of the funniest people in the world of comics. So
I'd say he's the guy.
Yeah, the guy.
The guy.
He's the best. He's the best.
Yeah. Yes. So like he's got like such a great sense of humor, and like whenever we hang out, we're always kind of like joking back and forth. So I think a lot of that kind of came through there too.
Yeah.
But that was a fun book to work on also. Like and it was also great to put it on Kickstarter and just see so many people like, responding to it and being like, being really like, enthusiastic about it. Like, it's a little bit harder to kind of get that immediate reaction from like stuff in comic stores, because it's like, like I'm only in one comic store at a time. It's like, so
right.
It's like people talk, but like when you're on Kickstarter, it's like every time you post like a new page or something like that, like people are like just immediately being like, looks awesome. And you're like, yeah.
Well, and like social media doesn't even give you a good gauge, because not everybody that goes to the comic shops, it goes on Twitter or Instagram and posts about it and says, yes, I love this one and I love this one.
Mm-hmm.
Instead they go on there and like, oh god, they're doing this to this character at Marvel again. Or they go on there and complain. But I know the indie comic side of things, I feel like more people are out there talking the positive things that they're seeing in comics, so it's always good. But I know, Rich, you've been doing some of the Marvel like online stories, or you got one of them still coming up. Is the Kang one coming up, or is that out?
The Kang one came out like earlier this year. It came out around when Ant-Man 3 was out.
Okay.
Because I think part of the idea was like, well, if somebody goes and sees Ant-Man and they want to kind of know what the deal is with Kang in the comics, like what's like a good story that could kind of ease them into it. So yeah, no, I've done a couple of things for Marvel digital stuff. I did the Kang one. I did a Ghost Rider story. I think there's one that I did that hasn't come out yet, and I'm not sure they announced it, so I'm just going to not mention it.
That's fair.
But they're a lot of fun. Like, I mean, like honestly, I think when the first one I wrote, I was a little bit like hesitant because, it's such a different format than a book, because it's just these like infinite scrolls and stuff. But what I learned pretty early on was that there's a lot of like really fun stuff you can do with those that you can't really recreate in a comic book with the same effect. So it's like, and a lot of it has to do with like kind of transitions between the panels. So like for the Ghost Rider one, part of it is like Robbie Reyes, Ghost Rider, and Johnny Blaze are fighting. So Robbie just kind of like plows through Johnny's bike, and Johnny's just kind of holding on like with the chain. So it's like you're scrolling and you hit the back of the car, and then you just sort of like follow the chain down, and then there's like like Johnny like holding on, and it's like you can do that on a comic page, but it's like
you see it all at once.
You see it all at once. This is kind of like it's mimicking like what your movement of the eye would be on the page, but it's just like a really cool little effect you can do.
Yeah. So the creative process is a little bit different in that unlimited or infinite scroll style versus what you can do on the comics page. If you're thinking outside the box a little bit more, I guess. Which I would say with your guys' comics, I don't feel like you ever stay within the boxes already. A lot of the paneling that you usually end up doing, Alex, ends up really awesome, and things just flying out of the comic. Like if you had some like 3D glasses and Breath of Shadows, like you have all the bugs flying off the page at you.
Yeah, that could great. I love it.
The remastered 3D version of Breath of Shadows.
Well, let's make some phone calls.
Little creepy seeing the bugs, in that way.
Oh yeah. So page 1 when they're like puking out of his arm. Yeah, that'd be a little rough.
Yeah.
Just welcome to the book. It's all downhill from here. But yeah, it's just doing that stuff. It makes it fun and exciting, and opposed to doing the line down the middle and doing the grid. And there's a lot to be said about the grid too. But yeah, it's just it's I don't know, it's fun.
Yeah. I think it makes it more fun on the reader side as well. That
I hope so, right? It's
yeah, it's always something that I notice right away. Like if it's just if I'm reading a comic, it's just block all throughout.
Yeah,
story could be good, but I feel like that distracts me almost from it. Versus unless it's got an effect. Like I know, like Tom King likes to do really long, like small boxes and
oh sure, yeah,
really big grids. Yeah. But that's another creative way to take the grids.
Yeah,
but when people are going crazy and it's like there's no grids at all, or like I don't even know. There was one like Kickstarter comic that I read. There was literally 0 like boxes. It was all these weird shaped panels of like curvy circle panels and like all this other stuff. But I don't know. Just add something fun to it.
Well, the whole thing. It's just it's all about telling the story, right? If a scene's supposed to be like pretty like it's dramatic, like a couple of characters are like breaking up or something like that, you're probably not gonna have like tilted things and like flipping around and all like like heads coming out of the panel, like stuff like that. You just got to play it to all right. What's going on in the story? What's our mood supposed to be right now? Is this supposed to be like bonkers? Is this supposed to be like someone's going nuts? Is someone like freaking out, or is someone like sad, or someone like it's all about just different ways to tell a story,
Right.
And it's
add something to the tone by changing up the panels.
Right. And we grew up in the 90s, so I was looking at Tom McFarlane comics when I was a kid, and Jim, and all those things. They always had someone popping out of there and like jump around. The panels were always goofy. Doing those long ones with you did like the half a face, even that never made sense. Yeah. I love that as a kid. So when I started doing this, I'm like, all right, well, that's what those guys did, and if it was popular in the 90s, I don't know, I'll try something like that. Or and once you get into it, you're like, no, this works better if it's boom, 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 boom.
Right.
Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's all right, make boom, boom, make that one really big, and then a couple of little ones at the bottom.
Yeah.
Basically, standing like the giants.
Yeah, and like from the writing side, like the number of panels that you're putting on the page can like the way I look at it is it's more like kind of pacing and tension and stuff like that. So it's like, if we're doing a scene where you kind of want this like slow build, it's like, it helps to like have more panels, because then it's like, you're kind of going from moment to moment to moment. And then like when things speed up, like you can like, go right into a splash. And I think the way that you kind of, it's how many panels are like on a page, but then also how many, like where they are in relation to each other. Like, like if it's like 5 panels, it's like, it can feel a little like monotonous, So I try to like switch it up a little bit too.
Try to keep him on his toes.
Yeah.
5 panels can be a pain in the neck too. Some of the two numbers are easy, but you get odd numbers, is like, all right, how am I gonna make this work?
Yeah. But also, like, like Alex, like I'm always like, I think we decided very early on that like if he felt like adding a panel would help, or if he felt like taking away a panel would help, totally cool with that, because his decisions are like always on point. So I was gonna say 99%, but it's really like 100%. So
that's why the next book is just to be splash pages, 22 panels. I'm out.
But he's gonna draw it first, and then I'm just gonna write like
yeah, just do it. Yeah,
a couple words here or there. Yeah. Here's just 22 splash pages.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. I'll have it for you later.
Do you, when you're writing the script, do you ever have like an image of in your head, like, I want the panels on this specific page to do this, or you just kind of say, All right, Alex, take it away. Do whatever you want with the paneling.
No, I try not to be like too prescriptive unless I really have something like in my head, like, then I might like, I might talk about how I see it, but not in a way of like, like you have to do it this way. Usually what I'm trying to get across with, with panels and pages, it's not so much like a specific image I have and more of like what I would look like, what I'd like to see. So it's like, it's not just like or like what kind of like what the panel is like supposed to accomplish, So it's like,
okay.
So it could just be like, I don't know, Joe is surprised by Bob, and that doesn't matter to me whether that's like, he's over his left shoulder or over his right shoulder, or anything like that. Like, I kind of leave that up to Alex because he knows what he's doing when it comes to laying stuff out. So,
Gotcha.
But I try to just sort of get the intent across. So rather than like if I'm writing like a fight scene, let's say, like I'm not going to be like, Rocky raises his left hand and hits him across the chin with like, I'll just be like, Rocky's getting the upper hand, or like, Bob is like, in trouble or something like that. And, just kind of let the man do his magic. So
do you feel like that's evolved over time with, as you guys have done more and more together? That's like at the start, it was like we're starting to get to work together. I'm gonna put a little bit more into it, but now I'm like, all right, I've worked with you for many, many books. Do whatever you want. You've got this.
Yeah, I think it's, it's probably definitely like, I'd be maybe interested to kind of like read all the scripts like next to each other and see.
That would be fun.
Evolution of
like that first row of bones.
Yeah.
But like, I think we've probably gotten a little bit looser and a little more kind of conversational in the scripts where it's like, like, hey, Alex, just do this or that. And, like if you have any questions, let me know, like that kind of stuff.
Like, for example, I remember you had a line in one of them. It was like, all right, this one, do that like wicked creepy smile that you do.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see in this one. I'm like, all right, I know exactly what's going on, right? Whereas, what about that wouldn't be there?
If it was like a brand new artist that you're working with, you would be like, do that creepy smile that Alex does.
Yeah.
Get that in there.
Here's Alex's email. Tell him to draw.
Yeah, can I have examples?
And
send over some samples.
Yeah.
Put that in. Yeah. That would be great.
Yeah, right.
So the Drive Like Hell is in August's previews catalog. So coming out in October, just in time for Halloween.
Yeah,
awesome.
I think it's actually going to be the week before Halloween.
It's the 25th, right?
25th.
Yeah, I think the 25th. The cool part about that is that if you're planning on going to your comic store for Halloween Fest to get all those free Halloween comics, Drive Like Hell will be like right there for you to pick up right alongside them. So it worked out really well.
It's right on the dot. I love that, like all the comics publishers are like, all right, Halloween's coming up, August. Let's get our horror books started in August. Get things rolling. It's perfect.
Oh,
yeah.
Spooky season reading. So, so FOC still coming up for that. I think because it's Dark Horse. I don't remember how FOC works for them anymore. I think because they're through Lunar now. Are they? I don't remember.
Maybe.
Anyways, you know it's about a month out. So for the people watching, you still got time to order.
Yeah.
Like hell.
Was the question what the final order date was? Sorry, my kids are like screaming at each other. It's I believe it's the 17th. So you have like another couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But it's like, whether you get it in by that date or not, like that's like kind of like your guarantee. Like, hopefully your shop
Right.
will still have copies, but keep
Still
an eye out
order it
for it.
after.
Yeah, but pre-orders just really help us because it's like if a shop knows that a book is like interesting and people are going to want to read it, like they have to put in their orders pretty early. Like it's August now, like they're going to have to start ordering issue 2 in September before they really know if people are going to go buy issue 1. So if you kind of let them know now that you're really into issue 1, it'll help them, it'll help us. So it's not to like beat a dead horse, but it's pretty important for us creators.
Yeah,
pre-orders are such a big thing, and I feel like a lot of kind of the casual comic readers out there don't realize how big and important that is. So I always try to bring it up, starting to try to do like the look at the previews catalog and put some thoughts out there of what people should be looking for. But it's hard. I know even looking through that catalog and searching through publishers, like Bliss on Tap has like a small area in there. Comics Tribe has a small little section in there. So oftentimes people just flip past them, unfortunately, and it's got good quality books.
Yeah. And now there's like more than one catalog because it's all different, like distributors and stuff. So it can get a little confusing.
The August catalog, I'm like flipping through, and there's like 2 pages for Image. And it has a QR code and it says go here for the Image books that are being read. And it takes you to the Previews World website, and then they have like a couple images on one page and a couple on the other. Like I think there was a list of all the Image comics that were coming out, and like that's it. You used to have like this big of a section in the catalog. With all the switches over between distributors, it's wild.
Yeah. But the easiest thing to do is you don't really have to worry about order numbers or anything. You tell your shop owner or whoever's working there. You just say, "I want Drive Like Hell."
Yes.
And there you go.
That's it. Simple, easy word
for you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Easy to remember.
And while they're there, they can also tell them that they want Alex's new book coming from Mad Cave that we're going to talk about.
Order all.
Alex didn't realize he was signing up to come on channel 2 weeks in a row. I didn't realize that either at the time. I was talking with Frank at Mad Cave about getting you and David on to talk about the Devil That Wears My Face, and then Blake sends me a message and is like, "Hey, would you want to get Rich and Alex on the channel to talk about their new book coming from Dark Horse?" And I was like, "Yeah, hell yeah." And so like Frank sets up the thing with you and David for next week, and then Blake sets up this for this week. I'm like, does Alex want to come on 2 weeks in a row?
They said like, do you want to do this twice? I was like, of course I do. Yeah, why wouldn't I?
I was like, all right, let's do it. But Devil Wears My Face. That one was also just in the previews catalog, so coming out in October as well. But we'll get more in depth on that next.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Yeah,
but I just want to throw that out there. If you're hearing this right now,
Devil Wears My Face. It's out.
Running to your shop as you hear this.
Give me the Cormack books.
Just that way you don't have to make a second trip to tell them about it next week.
But
and I think Breath of Shadows is like in trade.
Actually,
the week after that. I think that one's like the first week in November, but it'll be out like around the same time.
That's really good time in there. Yeah, November 1st.
Yeah,
that one's that's got some good goodies in there too. That's for me. I can't wait for that thing. Well, one of the things I did, because it's a rock band and all that, I did all their album covers leading up to the events that happened. And that was a blast to go through like some old going through the Stones and the Who and those early albums before they kind of before like 67 and 60 going on that way. But I'm excited to see that whole thing all put together.
I like it. But yeah, I think the one we haven't talked about back here is Duel. Actually, no, there's two. We got two books here. So let's talk about Duel real quick, because since I haven't gotten to talk with either of you before, I want to talk a little bit about some of those books back there. Duel's been fantastic, and again, like Bliss on Tap, one of those publishers I think flies under the radar. But you've got a little bit of, I think you had done something else with Bliss on Tap before Duel as well.
I've done a bunch of stuff. I've been working with them since about a decade now.
Wow.
But yeah, the first series I did was with those guys called Future Proof, and we did like 12 issues of that. Then I did another series called I Play the Bad Guy with them. We have Duel. I have another book, a goofy weed comedy called Weed Magic. I a book that just came out, Killing Hope, issue 1 that I drew a while ago. They just got into the shops. So yeah, and and we did like another thing, Hardcore Aiken, which was the prequel to a movie, Hardcore Henry, which came out a few years ago, which was a lot of fun. And but yeah, no, that's they're great. And
that was like that movie that was like all first person, right? Like
that was the one they like slapped a GoPro and be like, all right, go. But that was a ton of that was crazy. We had to like do this entire book in like 2 weeks. It was nuts. Like write it, color it, the whole lettering, everything. But we got it done. Nice. And Duel, that was Brian Phillipson, who's like the top guy. It's his company. He wrote me one day and was like, "Hey, listen, I got the script. It's kind of like this story about like a website, like a dark web website, where you can sign up, do like duels in like real life, and get paid for it. So and the way it all works, like they get away with it. It's like self-defense laws and all this type of stuff. So, it starts with a couple guys trying to blow each other up or blow each other away in a supermarket. And, I think like 4 issues are out, and each one is kind of its own story with like this, the overarching thing is like, got like this federal agent who's trying to shut him down and just can't get him.
just missing just about a little bit.
I'll get you, Duels. But
and it's planned for 12 issues, right?
I think so. Yeah. I honestly don't know.
I think that's what the original solicit had said. Yeah, but it's been a minute.
Yeah. No, like right now it's kind of like there's like kind of a break going on, all that type of stuff. So, but yeah, whenever I get a phone call and say here's number 5, I get cracking.
Yeah. I mean, it's got a good, they could collect like 4 issues.
Yeah. So it's not ready for like a trade and all that. Maybe like squeeze in one more, but yeah. It's a good book. People go buy it.
Fun read so far, yeah. And I think when
the funny thing too, because I see you got the because we did a second printing for it because you got the yellow cover.
Yep. I have this. Actually, got the second print of it also.
Yeah. So when we put it out, we didn't really like. We figured it'll be good, but we're expecting too much to happen. And like in a day or two, we got a call. It's like, it's already sold out. We're like, what?
Right.
Okay. And then it was kind of a run around trying to get like a second printing going as quick as we could. So I've never actually even had one of those yellow ones in my hand. Like the comp copies I had, we're like, we got to put these out of shops. Sorry. I got no sell this.
Yeah.
Get out of here. I don't care about first printing.
But you know what that's a perfect example of pre-order. So the publisher can print, a good number of books and get them out there to the shops.
And folks, if you pre-order Drive Like Hell and it does sell out, that means you get that first one. That will be a lot of money one day. Then you can buy, pay for colleges and and stuff like that. So
there you go. Yeah, that'll be the get that 9/8 slabbed and
there you go. Yep.
For the college fund.
That's right. Yep. Not like those slobs that waited for sat around and pre-order. Don't want to be that. Don't want that to be you.
Yeah. No, that was I even missed seeing it in the catalog because, like I said, I look through it, but sometimes you miss things like the smaller publishers
Mhm.
that have one book,
Oh, sure,
two
yeah,
books in there.
And I mean,
And then
yeah,
I saw it was your art on it, and I saw what it was about, and I was like, all right, well, I need to see if my shop has this. And they had ordered, I think they ordered one or two. Is my shop owner
Yeah.
is a big fan of Sync Dig,
yeah.
which well,
Either one,
one,
yeah.
I know
Sync
one,
was,
one
Sync
came
was
out more
original. Then we did
recently.
like a 3-part. It was like 3 issues in one. That was it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which is funny is like I read that, but I have not gotten to read the original stuff. So I've gotten probably spoilers for everything else, but I loved it. So it's like on my list to go back and get those original, like the trades and such.
Oh yeah, 6 great. I'm there's more of that coming too. I'm in the middle of issue 12, and along with doing Drive Like Hell and
Nice.
Devil Wears Your Face.
A couple other little things too.
Yeah, then I got Sync and
Yeah.
oh yeah, a couple other things too, right? So
Yeah, just drawing like 20 comics right now. It's fine.
Yeah, well, he's a machine. Or my theory is there's a twin brother that we've just never, met, and like got him locked in the basement, just like drawing. And
you saw my son coming in a minute ago. What's him? Yeah, I'm like, all right, you're cracking over there, and Dad's gonna take a nap.
Yeah,
Get to work, you.
The art assistant.
Yeah.
Going back there and doing it. But yeah, no, my shop owner was a big fan of it. So I think that's why he ended up, ordering some of Duel, because he saw you were on the art for it. And
nice.
So it was perfect. I was like, hey, I missed ordering this in the catalog. So works out. But yeah, then they ordered the second print as well, stocked some more. I think I sold a couple of those. So hopefully people stuck around on the series after that. I have no idea. But
all right.
I'm
glad they bought those couple.
Yeah. But yeah, and then this one. This was
there you go.
Also a little bit lighter for you, Rich, but
yeah,
still has that darkness underneath the surface, you could say.
Yeah, the ocean will take us.
Yeah.
That was a really fun book to work on, and like I think I worked with Carlos Olivares, and he's just got a very like kind of different style than Alex, to say the least. Like it's a little bit like manga influenced, and
see that.
Not that you're not manga influenced, Alex, but I just mean like it's just like
more
a little bit lighter
than
yeah, a little bit. I know manga's like a whole wide genre,
right?
But yeah, no, The Ocean Will Take Us was a lot of fun. It's like it's weird because it's like it's not like YA, but it kind of like looks like a YA book and sits in that like area because it's like about high schoolers.
Yeah, more mature YA.
Yeah, a little bit, just because there's like a lot of kind of like I don't really pull any punches when it comes to like the cursing and stuff like that and innuendos. But yeah, it's fun. I always talk about that book because it's like it's has nothing to do with H.P. Lovecraft, but like the basic elevator pitch is that it's like the Breakfast Club versus Cthulhu. That's kind of like
that works.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
That was
a lot of fun. Yeah,
very fun read.
Yeah,
dark. Dark at times, but it needed to be for that story.
Yeah. And Aftershock is going through some shit right now, to say the least. Yeah. But maybe we'll see when they get back on their feet. We'll talk to them about like putting out a trade. I'd love to,
Yeah.
I know they want to, and I'd love to see it. So like, I think once they get everything sorted, like we'll see what happens.
I've been seeing them like they're still in the catalog, and so they're advertising like their back stock of stuff and trying to get those orders so they get some funds. It seems like they're trying. What happened was very, very bad and unfortunate. But hopefully they right all the wrongs and can come out stronger.
Yeah, I hope so.
Never root for a comic publisher to go under because they're trying to put those stories out there. But when I know a lot of creators unfortunately got affected by that, and that's never a good thing.
Yeah.
But
say the least.
Yeah. So hopefully everything with that gets fixed and comes out better, and a trade can happen for that, or down the line that they're able to, you're able to get the rights back and put out a trade of your own or something.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Like, it's for anybody who doesn't know, they filed bankruptcy, and that's kind of like can be a long and drawn out process with, like there's like a court case going on and stuff. So, nobody really knows what's going to be going on, and nobody will know until that case is like settled and done. So we're all just kind of waiting to see what happens, and hoping for the best. And we'll just have to wait and see.
There's a lot of go ahead.
I was gonna say hopefully it's got a happy ending,
Especially because there's,
and I don't mean like a happy ending for Aftershock. I mean a happy ending for everybody. That's way more. That's way more important than
right.
Like, I mean,
clarify.
Somebody comes back, but I think the most important thing is just that everybody who put the work in sees gets what they deserve out of it. So that's my number one hope.
And I know there's a lot of great stories and things that they have the rights to, and creators that probably want to continue some of those stories. Like I know the Naki brothers wanted to do more We Live, and so it's I want for the creators to be able to have that ability to create and get paid and not suffer without the pay. But we're ending on a little of a dark note, but
we're hard guys.
No, you do. Go out and buy Drive Like Hell and cheer you up.
If you want a little bit of comedy with your darkness, Drive Like Hell, #1, coming out October 25th. Let your shop know ASAP, but try to get it in before the final order cutoff on September 17th. Get those orders in. Where can people follow you guys and see what you got going on?
I'm like at Douek pretty much everywhere. So I'm on the platform formerly known as Twitter. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Instagram. I'm around, and I also have a website, rdouek.com. If you go there, you'll see a link to sign up to my newsletter. It took about a month off just because it was like summer, and I've had a bunch of stuff to do, but I'm going to be starting it up again really soon, and getting some more stuff out there. I'll be talking about Drive Like Hell and try and give people a little bit of behind the scenes kind of stuff. And I also sometimes put out I'll talk about writing tips or navigating in the comics industry and stuff like that. So
awesome.
There you go.
Yeah, and I love that idea of doing the Prince name for Twitter. But
I can't call it by its new name.
It's weird every time a notification pops up. I'm like, what the hell is this? But anyways, I'm on formerly known as under Alex Cormack 4, and on Instagram it's just my name. I mean, Google Alex Cormack, I'll pop up somewhere. But Instagram and Twitter. I got an invite for Blue Sky. Thank you. But I haven't jumped on there yet, and I'm on Threads too. But it's
Yeah, I'm on that too. There's just so many now.
I forgot to post on Threads today. I knew I was forgetting one of those apps. I'm not on Blue Sky. They haven't let me in yet. I'm just whenever it happens, it happens. That's another platform to worry about.
Yeah.
But I did link I think I linked the Instagram and Twitter's down below, and then I think I've got
Rock and roll.
both of your websites linked below.
Nice.
So if anybody wants to check all that, because your website's a little bit harder to say the full length of the website, Alex.
Oh, mine is just like
sites.google.com. Yeah.
I basically just copy the top and like, fine, you'll.
Yeah.
Because I used to have alexcormack.com, but it got hacked and I can't unhack it.
Oh, geez.
And it's like, but last time I went on there, like they were selling like shoes somewhere. But yeah, it's there's links to links. It's
Exactly.
We're out there.
Absolutely. Well, thank you both for coming on. Thanks everyone watching live and anybody watching this later on the replay. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having us
on. Everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us on. Thanks for coming. Everybody out there, thanks for listening, watching. We appreciate all of you.
And come back next week for Alex Part 2 with David Propose to talk about Devil That Wears My Face from Mad Cave.
Maybe I should. I'll come back too, but I'll wear David's face.
Yeah, they jump in like heckle us.
Hey, and if you want to hop on, like we'll like just put David in the back and you'll be on with a mask on.
There you go. I have a week to put together a Dave Post mask. So
and then David can come on and just be like, the devil is wearing my face.
Yeah,
there you go.
It's perfect. I love it. But
get him on the phone.
David, we've got an idea for you.
Just hear me out.
Oh man, that'd just be too good.
Yeah, maybe we'll do it for Halloween. So,
sure.
You got more time to get it done by Halloween.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody, and have a nice night.
Thanks so much.
Night.